Hi, I'm Sean, and this is Sean for Help. Yesterday I was going to make this video as well as another one, but seems like every time it turns around, something else gets in the way. We're going to see if we can fight through it today. But yesterday I had a machine that died on me, so the smell of burnt electronics is in the air a little bit. Had a motherboard and a computer die. Not fun. Anyway, moving on. For those who are first-time viewers, hey, thanks for coming. Love to have you here. Look forward to having you again. Please have a sit and listen, and comment down below as you'd like. Yesterday I was thinking about trying to talk about how thoughts and how your subconscious delivers them up, and more about why and what happens with that. So we're going to keep it very concise today on this video because I got two more that I'd like to make. But the idea is that as you think, so things become. Because as you act on those thoughts, then you actually start seeing how your life is molded around what you were thinking. Okay, so you wanted to become politically activated, and you wanted to go do something. You did these politics, and you got so successful, this is what happened. Looking at everything in between, if you didn't do any kind of action on the thoughts of going towards being politically activated or active, you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have gone there. You wouldn't have thought further on it. You would have just dropped it off. No way. Maybe you went and did a job, and that job is specific to a certain skill set. And you went to go learn those skills, and then you finally went and did that kind of job. And that's where you're at now. And then all the decisions in between that actually left you either higher or lower in that job that you wanted, because either a lack of training, lack of skills, you just didn't have the want, or you really got aggressive in it and you did a lot of hard work, you busted your butt to get there, and you've ended up achieving a higher grade than what you thought. Those things are all, again, products. Foot still hurting. Gout. Those are still products of your thinking and then acting on those thoughts. That is a fact. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's the fact. It's the truth of everything I've ever seen. If you think it and then you act on it, it's going to happen. But your subconscious is delivering thoughts up to you of things that either interest you or part of your nature. And I say that because some people can be fairly generous, other people can be very stingy, other people can be very loving and kind naturally, other people are very bitter. You get the variety of people, you know what I mean. But as these thoughts are being delivered up, you are ultimately responsible for either putting more energy towards it or not, based upon your own free will. You did this. You got there. You went and bought these. You found a way to live over here. You have these jobs, these relationships. Your lifestyle's this way. There are other people who do others. You have to think that all of that is ultimately your responsibility of where your life went, because of how you thought and then how you acted on those thoughts. Nobody said you had to act on them, and who said you had to believe them? Nobody is making you believe your own thoughts. Not one person. You cannot blame anybody as hard as you could try. Good luck. You can't be a victim to yourself. And you say, well, I'm the one who had that. Great, that's fantastic. Then you're ultimately responsible also for trying to find a way to make your life better if you really want it to be. And guess what? You can do that now. Merely just by taking the time, setting about 5 minutes aside for a moment, and just feeling. Gently set your thoughts aside and just take a moment. And I'm saying 5 minutes. A lot of people were like, well, 5 minutes, that's kind of short. Yeah, you're right. It is. But there are people who are just learning this. So why am I going to sit there and force them to sit for a half hour? That's not going to work. So I want you to think about the 5 minutes thing. This is a beginner's practice. If I wanted to talk about more advanced stuff, we could do that. But I think I'm going to have your head spin about the idea, yeah, I want you to sit for a half hour in the morning, half hour in the evening. And I want you to sit there and go through the meditation as these things come up. I want you to actually allow yourself to be more detached engagement, which you'd probably look at me and go, well, what are you talking about with that? Well, it's like touching a soap bubble and not having it break. And I could go all through that crazy stuff. And some of you are probably going, whoa, that's why it's only 5 minutes. We're going to take small steps here, folks. So you have to still think, though, that you are ultimately responsible for making your life better. So let's try and do that through some meditation, just to go, okay, my kids drove me nuts today. All right, I got a few minutes. Let's just take a moment just to kind of sit here and breathe and feel and just pay attention. And as thoughts come up, you can gently set them aside. You can observe how they made you feel while you're doing that. and then you can go back to your breathing. As you do this, you will be able to, as you're doing things, be able to watch how you feel. Because that's what's really telling you whether or not your thoughts are good or not so good. And I say it that way because if you have thoughts that are causing you anxieties and depressions, and you want to know what those thoughts are, you're not going to be able to watch every thought you have. It's not possible. They just go, there are just thousands of them in a day. But you can pay attention to how you feel. And that's going to get you ultimately where your thoughts are going. And then you can direct yourself in a different direction. There's a lot of stuff that was talked about in like books like The Secret, Law of Attraction by Esther Hicks. There's all kinds of different stuff that you can look at for this and really see how it is. And it's even, again, I can go back to the lesson of the withered fig tree in the Bible, to where we're talking about as you focus on what you want, ask, receive, believe, just saying, I really want this, or I'm really attached to this. As you focus on it, you're seeing a want. Because wanting something and asking for something is a desire to have it. That's what asking really is. It's the desire to have something. So if you put energy towards something, you are asking for it. Well, I didn't ask for bad weather today. I wanted to go out on a picnic. Okay, well, were you focusing on, I hope it doesn't rain? I don't want it to rain? Because even if you do or you don't want it to do something, as you focus on that and you put a lot of energy towards it, it's going to happen. You can probably say that this is a lot of hogwash. Well, don't believe me if you don't want to. That's okay. But you're still going to have to take and accept the fact that you're at where you are because of how you thought. Well, I was held down because this other person took this promotion for me and I couldn't get it, so I quit. But you did these actions on your own to make it so that you quit rather than find a different job. That maybe you could find something else or go into business for yourself and make more money and make them whatever. Did you act in haste and not think things through? Because that's ultimately even I responsibly take absolute claim over those actions of my own where I've acted hasty and did something stupid. And guess what? I'm broke. Those have happened. And then I had to start from scratch. It happens. You have to understand that your thinking and your actions are ultimately, you are responsible for them 100% of the time, whether you like it or not. If you think it and you act on it, it's yours. So subconsciously, you have to think that you have brought these things through that tool of the subconscious, and then you acted on them and believed them, rather than just watching. How do you feel? I'm feeling my chest is tight. I don't like how this feels, but this looks like it's going to make me a lot of money, and I'm going to go do that. Maybe you want to take a moment. Well, it's time sensitive. Maybe you want to take a moment. If you're not willing to take the time to do the right thing for yourself, because you don't have to sell your soul to get forward in life. You can do other things that are more satisfying. I assure you, I've done them finally. Hence why I'm making videos. You can make a better life for yourself and feel more at peace. And you don't have to be super wealthy. You don't even have to be wealthy. You could just be a simple day job, making average salaries. Maybe you're only making $50,000, $60,000 a year. And that's a lot for money in Canada. Right now in the States, it could be as low as $26,000. Whatever. And you're content. You're happy. You're living your life to do what you want to do. That's what you're trying to find. You're trying to find your peace. But you have to understand that you have to make very good with yourself. You have to make good with yourself in the fact of making friends with yourself so you can be at peace with the decisions you make. But if you're not even aware of what they are, this is what meditation is supposed to do. This is why you set those thoughts aside as you're doing it and try and pay attention. Because as you start to learn how to build focus and awareness, concentration is a very big deal. You can then look at something and go, this is not going to serve me. I am not going to act on that. That is crazy, because I would have cut my nose off to spite my face in a business deal just because I wanted to get ahead that bad. Yeah, there was a risk in it that was worth taking, but at the same time, the people I'm dealing with, they're not really on the level. You have to think these things through like that, but you have to understand you're responsible for how you act on your thoughts. Nobody's making you act on your thoughts. Not one person. Nobody's making you do anything. You can refuse to do anything you want. Doesn't mean that there couldn't be bad repercussions, especially if you have to work to pay for rent to, live in the place you're at, or your mortgage. You got to pay for bills. You can't just sit around and not do anything in life. As much as a lot of people do in some situations, you get lucky for some of that, but it doesn't last forever. And it's a miserable life if you're having to have somebody else take care of you rather than you actually doing it for yourself, because if it's your money, who's going to tell you how to spend it? So I want you to focus on the idea of what I just said there. Kick this around. Allow it to come into your head. You are responsible for your thoughts. And the only way you know how you think, because sometimes they go by at 1,000,000 miles a minute, is how you feel. Meaning you have to pay attention. Paying attention to yourself shouldn't be a big deal, because it's you. Not having to worry about anybody else. The best way I'll say it at the end of the day here is this. Nothing outside of you has anything at all to do with you. When it comes to you thinking about you and what you're doing and how you act, not one thing outside of you has anything to do with you. Not one thing. Your kids are screaming. Fantastic, they're screaming. So what are your thoughts about that? Well, I need to do this. Okay, fine, that's great. Do what you have to, but that has nothing to do with you. You, specifically, don't have to act like a jackass and yell at them if they're just playing and they're laughing. You also don't have to sit back and be a rug when they're trying to run roughshod over you and you tell them no and you take away their cell phone and say, no, you're done for today. You yelled at your mom. You didn't do your chores. You're done. You can do anything you want in life, but you're not free from the consequences of those actions. Nobody can tell me otherwise, because I've seen it for a fact. It is what it is. So think about that. All these things I've discussed. You are ultimately responsible for your thoughts. Excuse me. And you are responsible for how you acted on them. Your life is the way it is because of how you thought and how you acted on those thoughts. It's very repetitious, but I'm trying to make that message clear. I look forward to seeing your comments down below. If you like what I say, hit like. If you don't, well, it's up to you. If you want to hear more what I have to say, though, because we got a couple other videos that are coming up that I think you might like about where we're going, hit subscribe. I'd love to see some other topics, so if you have some other things down in the comments you want to see, we can go from there, but I'm going to be discussing more things on meditation here as we go. I'll try and slip in a couple other videos if there's new topics that come up. And if you want to see when the videos do come out, hit the subscribe bell. I don't know if it always works, but I've seen a couple of channels where I've had to go back and manually visit, but do it just in case. And I look forward to hearing from you. I really do. I care about you guys. I want to know more about what it is that goes on in your life. And maybe I might not have all the answers, but if I do know where to go look, I'm going to point you in that direction. Even if it's not sitting with me, I want to help you. Other than that, you guys have a great day. For those who don't believe in God, love and light. For those who believe other than God, or they want something else, namaste. For those who are Christian, God bless you. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next time.